welcome to Leora. My name is Maddie, and I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and paying my respects to elders past and present. I extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people listening in today. So just a bit of a trigger warning. In this episode, we will be talking about domestic and family violence. If this brings up any feelings of trauma or unease, please call 1-800-RESPECT for 24/7 assistance and advice. So last year, a woman died every week at the hands of her partner. A woman who very nearly became a part of that statistic is Simone O'Brien. In 2012, Simone was subjected to emotional and psychological abuse by her partner, which ended with her being beaten with a baseball bat to within inches of her life. Today, Simone shares her story to spread awareness across the country. I'm joined with her here today. Thanks so much for joining me, Simone.
No, it's absolutely my pleasure. Thank you.
I just wanted to start by acknowledging that having conversations about domestic violence is not easy, but given the state of Australia right now, we need to be having them. So can you share with me a bit about your journey and how you've become such a passionate advocate for talking about domestic violence and spreading awareness?
So, when I woke up and eventually realised what had actually happened to me, I had at the age of 37, I knew absolutely nothing about domestic violence, and neither did my three children. And separating from their biological father, there was no domestic violence. It was just that we had too much money. So coming around and knowing that, with my one eye, my hair, my face, that I look different. I was thinking, why me, why me? And all the operations and neurological testing and different things. And when I was actually approached by a man to be a part of White Ribbon Australia, I thought, what is this? And did a bit of research, and then realizing the need for people to speak up, to help make a change. And as the years have gone on, now, my determination in not only in the advocating side of it, but in my own general well-being is, not to give up, to keep smiling and staying positive. And now, if I can put that onto someone else, whether it be male or female, our next generation's coming through to help make a change. At present, as you said earlier, it was one a week. We're one every 4 days that are losing their life. And last weekend gone, I was speaking from one week to the next, and I had to say to them, do you know, over the weekend, one woman was lost every 12 hours. I think we're at 42 this year. And I think because of that gut feeling, when I wanted to end the relationship, knowing these little red flags, that's what I've got now. And that is making me more determined to, I know I look strange and I'll never look, like you beautiful women, who is watching or listening, or yourself. I know I'll never look like that, but what's inside is what counts. And if I can help someone else from, stopping from, mental health issues, or committing suicide from being in this domestic violence state, pandemic that we're in, that's what I'd like to achieve.
Yeah, I think what has just stuck with me with every encounter that we've had thus far, just how uplifting and positive you are when speaking about such a gravely disturbing issue. And I think it is really nice to have those sort of glimmers of hope around this, because that's what we've all got to be striving for, right? Like these
Absolutely.
to
Yeah,
make a difference.
that's it, totally. And, with that striving for, and, my message out there is someone is going through a horrible time, or they don't feel alone, please remember you're not alone. And I also want to put in there too, myself, knowing I look different, I actually love myself now. And that's what I give out to anyone out there. Enjoy yourself first before you move on, or before you make any big rational decisions. Take that, even if it's only 5 minutes or 5 seconds for yourself, just put time back into yourself.
Yeah, no, I can't agree more.
Yeah.
You do obviously really incredible work spreading this message and speaking at so many different events and in different industries. How do people react when they're confronted with your story, as raw as it is?
Obviously, you can see in the crowd, whether it's, five people, one person, or 1,000 people, you can just see their faces like, oh, wow. But do you know what? I like that because then I can say, just remember, I'm here and this is where we can work together, putting that positivity back into them. And,
Mm.
having, and I'm not pinpointing them, I'm not boohooing men, but obviously we talk about that because of the stats.
Yeah.
And having men come up to you and say, that was so powerful, thank you. And, changing dads' lives, thinking that, they could be doing the wrong thing, acting like the king in the home, and they've got daughters and they don't want their daughters treated like how I was treated. So just changing mindsets of people and, even working with perpetrators. And I never thought I would ever be able to do that, but putting positivity into them and telling them to own what they've done and say, I was wrong. Then we can change our next generations coming through by people learning to own it. Yes, if you've got mental depression, own it, but be proud you're helping, to make a change in this space. So changing the whole scenario around from a negative into a positive. It doesn't matter what sex or what part of life we're in. We can all make a change and put that out there to, you know, be better people in ourselves.
That's incredible. I feel like that's a really such an important part of what's going on right now too, is being able to create those conversations with so many different people of different walks of life. And like I feel like maybe that's like such a strength that you have too, because you have this lived experience, but you also have this real positivity and readiness to talk about it and in a way that's non-judgmental too, because that's so important when you're approaching these people.
Absolutely. And that's, I make them feel that I'm with them. And I say, to whoever it is, I don't care what sex we are, what nationality we speak, or what color, if we're black or white or, you know, fat, tall, whatever. Like we're one. We're a whole nation and world at stamping out this. And if we can, just bring back respect and just help that next person or say, would you, do you need an ear or, give up your time and just respect each other.
Yeah. I mean, it's so great that you have this platform to discuss with people and have those conversations. But I guess going one step further, like what would your advice be to people or our users listening about how they can have really constructive and good conversations about domestic violence and creating safer environments of people at risk just by having those conversations and creating those spaces.
That's it. And it takes a while to break a person down to want to feel like they want to talk. And that's where I say, be that nagging mum like myself. And don't just ask once or twice, are you okay? Ask them 5 or 6 times because they will feel that, oh, she really does want to, or he really does want to be a part and help me here. Whereas it's just that once or twice, it can be just pushed away. And that's when they'll say, oh, look, he did hit me last night or she said this to me last night. So it's making that comfort zone for whoever to want to speak out. And then also, letting that person know that they're not alone. Wherever you are, whoever you're speaking to, as I said, whatever gender, sex, nationality, just check in and say you're not alone. And they will build their own courage on that and that safe environment. And if they're at the stage of leaving a home, you know, set down some things that you tell them to take, pre-take, and that's where I say, make sure you got all your documents and your Medicare because they're the things you don't want to be on the phone to after. That's the draining side of it. Be
Mm.
organized in the approach so that you are leaving in a generally good state of mind yourself, knowing you've got all this background stuff, and then go to your services or a close friend that you can rely on.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I know the statistic, isn't it, that it takes a woman roughly 7 times to leave before she goes away to good. That's like it's such a
Absolutely.
scary thought considering how dangerous a time it can be when a woman chooses to leave.
Exactly. And that's the scary thing is, but being there and having that support network, even though yes, it's tiring, but you know what? It's rewarding at the end, seeing that, they can see light at their tunnel and they're safe. And, that's, with what we've happened in shopping centers and, friends protecting friends type of thing, we just got to keep working together and not give up.
I know I know as well that you do a lot of work speaking at schools and with kids, and obviously you have your own as well. I'm wondering, given how important that it is that we are having these conversations with children to, better inform our next generations, how do
Yeah.
you tend to frame those conversations when it comes to chatting to kids about it?
Obviously, from high school, year 7 to year 12, I don't model collar anything. And obviously the primary school, I do, even from preppies, up to grade 3. And then, but on that note, I obviously every preppy or grade 1, they've got a question. And you know what? I say to the teachers, let's do that. I don't have to speak as long. I said, because that question or remark could be a red flag, is why their schooling is impacted, and they're not moving forward. And on that note, speaking to our, making a change for our next generations coming through is, if little Johnny's coming through and saying, my dad or my mum did this, he thinks it's a norm. That's where we need to break that cycle. But also slotting into there and not realizing, my what a community, what I actually do is now speaking to perpetrators, and telling them, to turn positive, and then going into schools in the same area, not thinking myself, I've actually got students coming up to me saying, "Oh, Simone, I just want to give you a cuddle," crying. She's like, "Thank you so much for saving my stepdad's life. He's pleaded guilty. He's given up, the alcohol, and he's reforming himself." These are wins. This is where getting into our schools early and having domestic violence, as tough as it is, it needs to be a part of our curriculum these days. And I have got schools that have got it a part of their curriculum, and they know what is going on. Obviously, it's in high school, but they know, what to expect, what to look for, and even asking the bigger questions.
Wow, that honestly, I seriously get shivers when you talk about, the people who come up and say things like that to you and just the real impact that you can see it's making. But you're completely right. Like us shying away from these conversations at any age is clearly doing us a disservice. Like, look at the state that we're in.
Absolutely. And there are bad things too that from me opening up and being me and not hiding anything. I do get students coming up to me and saying, "Oh, my dad's been sexually assaulting me for 8 years." It's the sad things too, but this is
Wow.
where we need to work together. And you know obviously this year 11 girl, she just felt comfortable and needed to tell me because I was open. So if we're all open, we're going to open more cans of worms, but at least we can get the help and get people in and services in, and get our next generations on a normal living, what we all should be.
It's so powerful what creating a non-judgment space can do, and being vulnerable in your experience. Like, it's harder and stronger to be vulnerable than it is to hide your insecurities. I think that that's so
Yes,
powerful.
absolutely. And me walking around, looking different, it makes a conversation. And now, with someone or say, "Oh, well done for what you're doing," I'm helping them because they will go away and talk about it as well. And if they know someone in their circle, at least I'll say, go and get help. We can stamp this out. So look, it's making that conversation and respecting each other. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Um, this has been so incredibly powerful. I just wanted to end on a piece of advice that you might have for someone who maybe is suffering in silence and maybe feels quite, I guess, restricted in what they're currently feeling. What would your advice be for them?
Please don't hide away. There's help there, and it's not embarrassing. That's my biggest thing. Domestic violence is not embarrassing, and more than not, it's not you. It's someone else that needs the help, but you don't need to hide away. Everything will be okay, and please speak up.
Thank you so much, Simone. This has been so incredible. I really appreciate you coming on to chat with us. And I really know that this is going to really start some really good conversations in our community. So thank you for what you're doing and for being here with us today.